Good morning, criminal and delinquent behavior. It's Monday, and I'm sure we are all thrilled to be back at it. So, what I wanted to do is, even though Module 1, I extended your assignment due date until Wednesday because it was a short week last week, I'm going to go ahead and post my supplemental video, which replaces an actual lecture. I'm going to go ahead and post it today for you first thing in the morning for those of you that are on track or ahead a little bit. And please be aware that in one of the assignments, there were two discussion posts in Module 2, I think, that I changed one of them. And I'm going to give you this option throughout the semester that instead of writing out your discussion post, that you may do exactly what I'm about to do. You can go ahead and you can record your response and then cite where you got your information, and then I will not require you to respond to any peers. All right, I'm not concerned about the length, but the minimum probably should be about 5 minutes for you to actually cover the material. So, not counting words, this or that, but I'm looking for quality assignments, okay? So I'm wanting you to also learn how to speak. You'll see I'm trying to get back in the habit of making sure I get rid of my ums and my ands and my uhs. So it's something that always needs to be worked on, and I want you to start learning how to do that. Once you get it out of your system, it'll stay out as long as you consistently speak. So, with that being said, Module 2 actually talks about theories of violence, as well as that's one of the assignments. And one of the assignments talks about VAWA, which is the Violence Against Women Act. That I'm not going to address here because that is something that I believe you need to look at personally and make up your own mind on the pros and the cons and how it can be fixed if it needs to be or how it should be modified. So life has changed since VAWA first came out, and so you may find that it's an antiquated thing and is no longer needed, or you may find that violence against women has ramped up and that, let's change that violence in general against persons has ramped up, and so maybe the language you might feel that the language needs to be changed to include other people than just women. So with that being said, that's your discussion 1, I believe. So that's the VAWA Act. And then I want to go ahead and talk to you about something that's going to continue on through your classes, and that's theories. So I chose a couple of theories that I don't think you will choose, but I'm hoping that it's fine to Google, different theories, because when we're teaching you in class, you're getting the main overview theory. But if you look under it, there are all these subcategories. There's millions of them. So you might find something that you didn't think that the general theory fit for you, but you wanted some more specifics. Well, that specific might exist. So go ahead and type it in there and look for types of social disorganization or types of broken windows theory or whatever it happens to be that you're looking at. So I chose for you theories of violence. You should already know a few. You know the heat theory. Violent crimes go up in the summer. Why? Because we're angry, we're hot, we're uncomfortable, we're just not happy people in general. Me, the hotter, the higher the humidity, the happier I am. But I'm kind of an outlier in that, as most people hate the months of August, July, August, and September here in Florida because it's so humid and they're uncomfortable. You go outside, you're drinking the water or drinking the air. So they have a tendency to get a little grouchy. Most people can control that by just being grouchy or annoyed, or they stay inside in the air conditioning. Other people who may not have those abilities to stay inside in the air conditioning, or they work outside, or for whatever reason they're in the heat, they may not be able to control their attitudes. And so it might come out in a violent, whether it's verbal, physical, breaking into homes because you're tired of working in the heat, so you're looking for a shortcut to get ahead. Some people can't control that. So that's one of the more common theories would be thermodynamic theory, or it goes under several different names. But I chose for you one that you will talk about, especially in your juvenile delinquency and juveniles in the law class, is I chose the main branch of social learning theory. And what that actually talks about is that it can happen in adults as well, but we predominantly focus on studying it in children. I like to look at it as in an inmate goes into prison, say, as a drug dealer. I call prison criminal college because by the time you come out, you've learned how to pick locks, break into houses, steal cars. You've learned that not by seeing it, but by repetitively hearing about it from an individual and hearing how successful that person was at the outcome. So that's more of an auditory social learning theory. But predominantly, we would talk about seeing something and seeing it repetitively over time, over and over and over. And if the outcome most of the time is positive, something that we want, then we will start to exhibit that aggressive behavior. You'll also find that'll go under a subcategory of social learning theory will be modeling theory. Okay, so like I said, Google them because there's a million of them, and some of them are really interesting and some of them are really common. And you went, why didn't I think of that? So to go with the social learning theory, I'm going to take you back to a famous experiment, which some of you probably have already seen, but it's Banduras Experiment with the Bobo doll back in 1973. And if you actually look and watch, it's comical to some of us because it's a toy we don't see very often. And then you see these kids escalate their behavior beyond what the teacher did. So pay attention. Please watch it. It explains the theory tenfold. Okay. So basically what happens is Bandura wanted to see if children would witness an event and then start to mimic or model that event, and then see if their behavior escalated beyond what they were shown. So if you look at the Bobo doll, which if you don't know what the Bobo doll is, it's the big blow up punching bag type doll that has sand on the bottom. So when you punch it, it comes back for more. And you punch it, it comes back for more. So I had one as a kid. It was great. So I apologize for that. So what happens is the teacher comes in and exhibits some behavior that is slightly violent or aggressive towards the doll. Then you have a boy and you have a girl who come in at different times, and they turn around and they start playing with the Bobo doll where they had seen what the teacher had done. So at first they start playing with it in a generic way, just pushing it around like you're supposed to. And then their behavior escalates. Watch how it escalates beyond what the teacher did. The little girl is fascinating because she becomes much more aggressive than the boy, which I'm not sure what that says about either that little girl or about women in general, but we'll leave it at that. So, social learning theory is the first one that I'm going to give you, so you can't use it. But I will give you the link to the Bobo doll experiment so that you can watch that. This will all be, obviously, if you're watching this, it's under my supplemental videos for this module. The other one I want to talk about, it's a word that's very much in the news and it's been in academia quite a bit in the last 5 years. So I want to call out inequality theory. And there's a difference between inequity and inequality. I want you to focus on this subject on inequality. And basically, what that's doing is it's saying that lower levels of income, okay, those people have a tendency to have concentrated experiences with, let's see, what did I write down? Levels of mistrust, social disorganization, which again in itself is another theory, social disorganization theory. And then you can look at all of the variables and different micro theories that are underneath that. But what it says is that those things all lead to a level of violent crime. And if we don't address that inequality of income, that over time and generations, that those people would become more aggressive and commit more crime and become more violent as a way to even out opportunity, whether it's income, housing, food, the American dream, whatever it happens to be. It's a very simple theory if you think about it. For example, I'll just give you this one, and it doesn't necessarily go with the neighborhood concept, but I'm going to compare you versus me. Now, if you're extremely wealthy, please don't rub it in my face, all right? But you guys have a tendency to tell me all the time that you're speeding on your way to school, and you get pulled over, and some of you are lucky and you get warning tickets, while others are used to getting some seriously big tickets, okay? You guys drive way too fast. So who's it gonna hurt more in their wallet? You or me to get a $150 or a $300 ticket or whatever, okay? Right now, there should be, if you're not including your parents' income, just what you make, okay? There should be an inequality of income between you and me. I've gone through school. I have my associates, my bachelor's, 2 masters, and a PhD, and I'm working on another one. So I should be making more money than you. Not always true, because I do manage to find jobs for you guys that outdo me, but I should have been able to save money by now. I should have been working on my 401k. I should have my house paid off or almost paid off. I have that advantage because basically the advantage comes from time and education, which has afforded me a better job. So you guys can't be college professors yet. You can't do that until your master's degree. But then there's still an inequality of income because having a PhD pays more than having a master's, even though we'll be doing the same job. So somehow we need to address the different types of inequality, because if we don't, you're going to see kids will see their older siblings join gangs. Those gangs, yes, we join gangs for a million reasons, but focus on inequality. Those gangs may be robbing houses or people or stealing little kids that are standing on the corner for a school, steal their lunch money, simply because they don't have the opportunity, they don't have a car to get to a job, they don't have the clothes to dress for getting a better job, so they're usually, if they are working in a restaurant, they're usually in the back of the house where they're not seen. They're not usually the hostess or host or the waiter or waitress, because they can't compete with buying the clothes, the makeup, the getting to the better places. There's a million ways to look at inequality. So just Google theories of violence and see what you come up with. And just read through. You don't have to read the whole article. Read just the abstract of the article. So don't forget, like I said, to cite your sources. But some of the other ones, if you want to look at them, I thought of there's an evolutionary or natural selection theory that will help explain the biological component of theories. Cell theory or genetic theory, that also goes along with it. And I'm going to leave social for you guys, if you go down that path, to look up for yourself, because I don't want to give you everything, nor do I want to influence you and make you think like me or work like me. There are so many theories, they're fascinating, and some of them are absolutely insane. Like, you want to look at the person and say, really? This is what you think? And it got published on top of that? There's tons that go both ways. So make sure you are happy with what you're looking at. This is one of those things that is your opinion. Okay? What theories do you feel explain violence, aggression, and the escalation of crime? You don't have to choose something that I believe in, but you may choose whatever you want, but back it up with a citation and empirical evidence that yes, this has been proven that this does escalate violence and aggression. Okay? So that's what I have for you right now. I will upload this video, the Bobo doll experiment, and who knows, I may a little later in the week toss something else out there. I think what I am going to start doing in that supplemental videos, or actually I'm going to make a separate folder that we can start putting news articles in for things that are going on right now. Like in my intro to corrections, I'm creating a folder that is specifically going to follow the correctional officer and the inmate that have escaped and run off together, the whites. Not related, but I want to follow that because it's going to be really interesting, and I'm surprised at how little information we've been able to get out of that at this point. So I would like to do that, and if you have anything that comes across the news, social media, or whatever that is valid, please feel free to share it. This is our chance to talk to each other face to face, so to speak, since we're not in class and we don't actually see each other, okay? So share it, let's talk about it, let's have a good time, and we're off and running on finishing Module 1 and jumping into Module 2. So hope you guys have a great week. Catch you later.